Hey, what's up? It's me, LA, ELAY, pronounced like LA, like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm breezy. This is my fifth video. Dang, I was on the roll. Shoot, this is my fifth video in regards to my colorism series. Yay, so that means I have five, two more to go in my 7-day series. Um, Today's video with colorism. Well, let me sit up. Today's colorism video is number 5, seeing colorism amongst and between girls during elementary, middle, and high school. Oh, let's see here. I think what I'll do with this is probably not just have it focus on just the females, but also how it affected my point of view from both aspects, the male and females, maybe. I'm not sure. But today's title is Colorism Video 5, Seeing Colorism Amongst and Between Girls During Elementary, Middle, and High School. First, I'll start out with the definition of colorism. Colorism is prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial background. Colorism within the Black community has been a serious emotional and psychological battle. I'll read it again. Colorism, prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial background group. Colorism with the Black community has been a serious emotional and psychological battle. Hello, once again, I'm LA, talking about colorism, seeing colorism amongst between girls during elementary, middle, and high. Of course, I went to elementary, and it wasn't until I got into school I started to view the world, things, and life differently from how I thought it was just automatically supposed to be. And these views, especially of colorism, at the time I didn't know that there was actually a label for this type of practice or treatment towards others until I got way older. However, for lack of a better way of saying it, colorism, I didn't experience what that was until I moved out of the inner city into what was considered suburbs at that time. Had I known what suburbs were, dang, it's like, is that the light or is that crumbs in the corner? Oh my gosh, y'all, excuse me. Y'all like, ew. I'm like, ew, what is this? I checked in the mirror before I got on here. I can't even edit this out. I try so hard. Yeah. Okay, if I knew exactly what the suburbs were, maybe I would have fought harder for us to stay where we were. I mean, I've voiced my opinion prior to, but if I really knew what the suburbs were, I would have really fought hard, or maybe I would even opened up a can of rebellion just so they could have me stay in the inner city. But that's another story. So I wasn't introduced to basically what colorism was until we moved there in the suburbs. And I moved out there when it was like 91, 92, because I started out there in second grade. So I didn't really realize what color I was until people pointed it out. I knew I was black, I knew I was African American, but far as my skin tone that you see now, I didn't really know that there was an issue until others started pointing it out. And I'm really trying to go back. I intentionally chose not to go back into the recesses of my mind as I wrote this script, only merely titles and key points, so this video could be as real and as authentic as possible as I actually take the time right now to think back exactly of all the experiences that stood out that added to this turmoil of the colorism crap that we all put up with and go through. Second grade, just moving out there in general, just changed my whole aspect and outlook on life so bad. I just wish we never moved out there. I'm trying to stay on topic, so I keep looking back at my paper. Seeing colorism amongst between girls during elementary. Elementary. I knew that there were other girls there, but right off the bat they seemed mean. And not because they were dark neither. You know, they just the energy that they brought with them was like aggressive. And I was just naturally a quiet, polite person. Not saying that they weren't polite. They were just loud. And I'm just normally quiet, so those girls, unfortunately, at the time, they were dark skinned girls and they were really loud. And I know that's associated with dark people, black people being loud and obnoxious, but no, that's not the case. They were just really loud, and I didn't want to be around that. And then it kind of scared me because they talk so much. And it's like, I don't want to be talking all day. I'm in school. Why are you talking so much? And then the things that they were into, I wasn't into. I mean, I think I like boys. You know, I thought they were cool at the time. I kind of grew out of the boys have cootie stage, and I did like them too. But the way that they were just being all around them during recess and stuff, I'm like, dang, don't y'all have something else to do? Let these boys play basketball. You know, so I was like, they don't do anything that interests me. They're not talking about anything that interests me. However, they seem nice. As time went on, though, apparently my actions appeared to them that I was studious and stuck up and didn't want to be around my own people. And that wasn't the case. I did want to be around them. And it would have been nice if they just accepted me for who I was, that I was just quiet and just let me hang with them while they ran their mouths. I'm a good listener, you know. But apparently they thought I was better than them, not only because I was quiet, I kept myself from them. Then I was light with long hair. I'm like, here we go with this crap. What do you mean light with long hair? I'm looking around. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, there's plenty of girls around here with long hair. I still don't think I understood the light skin thing too much, cause that's it's coming from another black girl. I'm like, what's she talking about light skin? If anything, don't white people supposed to be talking to me like this? Not my own people. Aren't we supposed to be sticking together? So I'm like, in my head, it's a lot of people, a lot of girls around here with long hair. And then I realized how they said it, you know, black or light skin, long hair. I'm like, I'm getting it. Oh, I'm looking around. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, okay, I look white per se. You know what I mean? I'm like, you guys need to just hang it up because now you making me feel bad to be me. You know, I start feeling uncomfortable in my own body because you just assumed that I didn't want to hang with you guys, and I didn't, and not because I thought I was better than y'all. That I was denouncing my ethnicity and chose to be white. I'm like, no, these people now they're nicer to me. And yeah, I do feel like I fit in more outwardly. But best believe I didn't feel like I um fitted with them anywhere else except outwardly. That was second grade. I'm not gonna say the names of those girls, but I do remember them first and last name. They were so wishy washy, you know. It was like one minute they liked me, one minute they hated on me, one minute they liked me. I'm like, well, what is it gonna be? One minute I'm acting white and I'm light skinned and think I'm better, and the next minute you talking to me. Don't just go away now. Cause now it's stuck in my head. You really don't like me, especially because my hair is long and my skin is different and I'm not hanging with people my color. That was like second grade. I remember exactly the area where I stood and everything. They probably said these things over and over, but it wasn't until that day and that moment I realized it sunk in that them repeating that phrase over and over, it was like me being me is not cool and I'm being punished for it or something. That happened in second grade. And it really didn't get any better. Third grade, I didn't see too much colorism, too much because when we sat at our desk in groups of 4 or 5, I wasn't with them. I was at a desk with all boys. And that's something. So apparently the teachers recognized that there was an issue between the girls and who got along and who didn't, cliquish. So now that I'm looking back, I'm thankful for those teachers. In third grade, I remember my table, it was all boys. And then it was a light skinned boy my color. He was a weird color. I think I'm a weird color shade. And he was too. And then on top of that, his eyes were different colors. So I'm like, okay, yeah, put the freak shows together, I suppose. Now that I'm looking back at it, I mean, he looked weird and I look weird. And then this other guy with this, he was nice, but he was a geek. So I guess that was weird to have a insanely smart black guy. So now that it was like the freaks sat together. And out of the freaks of the group of the class, I was the one. But I liked that table. I felt comfortable sitting there with the guys because they weren't, at least around me, they weren't talking that race stuff, that color, long hair, light skin crap. So at least, even though I didn't like going to that school at that time, especially with that teacher in third grade, because she was mean to me, at least I had some comfort at the table amongst the guys because they didn't pick on me like that. I felt like I belonged somewhere. So thanks to my teacher, even though I thought she was mean, for pointing out something apparently I didn't really peep out. Thank you for not sitting me at a table with stupid girls. Thank you for not sitting me at the table with my own people who were girls, especially, because I wouldn't have been able to learn a thing. Fourth grade was the same. However, we had individual desks, and I was starting to catch on a little bit more to the rigmarole of how these girls talked, carried on, and what they were really about when they came to school and what they were really about after school. It's like the same attitude they had in school is the same attitude they had out of school and on summer vacation and when they talked on the phone. It never changed. What you doing? What you eating? We went to the movies. She's stupid. Light skin this. I wish I had long hair, or you should get a perm. I'm like, I don't want to engage into any conversations about anything like this if that's all y'all talk about. I can just keep to myself. So, second through fourth grade, I realized that girls were fake, but I don't think we were using that word at the time. I knew they got boys were gonna like you, dark skinned girls were gonna be mad at you because they just felt intimidated that the guy that they were liking weren't gonna be looking at them because they're gonna be looking at me or any other black girl with long hair and light skin. You're taking away my chances of getting the man I like. That's exactly what I was vibing without them having to directly say it. Um, I talk to them too, and I like being around them per se, but I didn't want it to go past. I didn't want to go past the class. I didn't want them coming over. I didn't like when they called me on the phone, those girls. So you may be asking, why did you talk to them on the phone? I didn't want to. That was my mom. They forced me to do so many things because they thought it would be good for me, but I tried to tell them I don't like talking on the phone, number one. Number two, I don't like them like that. I tried to explain it, but we just didn't have anything in common. So I just never really wanted to talk to those girls when they called me on the phone. I really hated it, and I don't like using the word hate. So thanks a lot, Mom. Let's see here. Fifth grade, I think it was fifth grade. I know it was in middle, but over in that area started from fifth through eighth. And there was some chick, maybe I was in fifth or sixth grade. We had homeroom in the library or something, and I was hanging around the table with a group of girls. It had to be 5 or 6. It was cool. I liked the were in school, but we had a type of freedom. It was like homeroom, but it was in the library, but still we were at tables. And I sat with girls. It was all black girls. I didn't like that because I knew the type of energy they were going to bring and the conversations they were going to have based on the TV shows that they watched or didn't watch. And just our lives were different. They really were. And at that time, it was pointless for me to talk to them about what we did or didn't do at our house because I didn't want to be the focal point of the conversation. So I just chose to just be quiet. But there was this time when someone told me that a girl at our table was trying to cut my hair with scissors, and I didn't know what to do to believe them or not. All I had to go on was based on the fact that this girl who was allegedly at my table trying to cut my hair with scissors, it probably was true because her attitude, from what I saw, sucked. I didn't know what was wrong with her. She was nice, but then she wasn't. It's like she was nice, but don't trust. But I didn't like that. It didn't make me feel nice because her hair wasn't long and mine was. And it just made me feel uneasy because, you know, if that was the case, if this girl was behind me trying to cut my hair, why was the other girls in front of me who could see what was going on not even telling me anything until maybe she missed or chickened out, or maybe she did cut some of it and I didn't feel it. But at the same time, yeah, I'm like, well, what were you guys doing to prevent it, opposed to wait until after the fact that something happened? So of course I got mad because it's like I have all this stuff in my head. Where were you guys at the table if you want to sit at the table with me and and wondering why I'm always isolated, but then only want to react after the act is done? How can I sit up here and tell all these girls that? Because they were way bigger than me and way advanced too, because they got out of the house and Lord knows what else they did when they were at home and their parents were at work. Because they were fast there, and so they were probably a mess at home. But who's judging? So that really made me not want to deal with anybody, especially if they were not my color, because it's like folks trying to cut my hair, people getting mad for something I can't help. I can't change even if I wanted to, except shave my head. But that's one out of the two. Okay, I'll be light skinned but bald, but I probably still will be cute and pretty. So I wouldn't be able to win either way. Colorism is a prejudice or discrimination against individuals with dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Colorism within the black community has been a serious emotional psychological battle. So it didn't take a rocket scientist to know that girls, number one, can be devious. Number two, they're highly insecure. Number three, I'm better off by myself. Number four, if I want some friends, they need to be pretty just like me and have my same color and long hair, because at least we'll be on the same page and won't be hating on one another. And that's how I developed that, because I got tired of getting picked on by dark skinned people and girls who could have been light but had short hair. They didn't do anything because they still were getting picked on too. So I feel like we could have, stuck together better. So in my head, I'm like, well, I'll just be with a black girl as a friend who's looking, sharing the same fight, and I'm quite sure she'll have my back because she getting picked on for the same reasons. The thing about that was, even with that, when I wanted to find someone to hang out with, because I was very lonely during almost my entire existence, even though I'm a friendly person, it was very, very long. So it was hard to find friends based on the standards that I set for myself. And out of the two I can remember, one was really nice, but to me, she was a little too fast. So it's like I don't. And the life that they lived, it just didn't click right with me. They weren't bad or anything. It wasn't. I wouldn't want it to go over her house, and I wouldn't want her to come over to mine because our friendship was better just at school because there was something centering around us talking, maybe gym class, maybe doing some homework or something. But outside of that, I don't see how we could have continued being um friends, It just wouldn't have made any sense because our hobbies were totally different. So what's the point? So I just kind of quit being her friend just like that. So I'm like, I don't have time for this. Other one came from a different background of religion, so it made me feel bad because I knew right off the bat my parents probably weren't going to let her come over because they were Jehovah's Witness. But she fit the criteria, a nice person, really smart, creative, funny, quiet, a reflection of myself, I thought, So I'm like, yeah, well, I started being with friends with her too, but I was hesitant because once again, and I was true, once my family found out they were Jehovah's Witnesses or something, I don't think it sat too well with them. Oh, I don't know, Jehovah's Witness don't believe in XYZ, and I don't want them to try to convert you over. I'm like, what the H are they talking about? Every time I ask to do something, y'all don't want me to do it. So, seeing colorism amongst between girls during elementary, middle, and high. In the summary between elementary and middle, I learned that I'm better off alone because it's too much work trying to make friends with people with girls, and I need to be studying. Trying to make friends who are trustworthy and not stab you in the back is harder than trying to get A's and B's in class. So I had to choose. I had to pick my studies over finding some friends because it was just too much work. It's like I don't trust any of them based on how they um treated me for my skin. I will say I did fall into the trap voluntarily of calling someone who was darker, really dark, but pretty in complexion, black, and teasing and falling into it only because she really made me mad. That's not my style, teasing somebody because they're black. But I got really tired of the isolation. I got tired of getting picked on. I got tired of them double talking, saying, "Oh, she's really nice," in front of adults and other people. "Oh, she's so nice, but she's just quiet." But then when nobody around, they're sneak dissing me and talking about you're white and you trying not to be black and X Y Z, and I'm like, you know what? So yeah, I started teasing her because her skin was dark, just because it made me upset, and I didn't know I couldn't go beat her up, So yeah, so I do admit falling into that, but I got quit because I knew it was wrong, and it didn't feel right doing that after a while, but at the time it did, cause I wasn't getting any type of emotional support from home about it, and I probably didn't bring it up too much when I saw that the issues weren't being addressed in the way that I felt that they cared anyways. So I figured it out on my own the best way I could, and I kept going. Middle school, as I got older, it just got harder because, girls are really growing up and now are starting to turn into young women. You know how that is. And so by the time I was probably in seventh grade, a lot of the girls, skin or not, they developed, into their womanly figure and all that crap. And I was slow on that curve too. So now it's like, where am I gonna fit in now? Okay, I'm light skinned, I'm nice and long hair. But that wasn't even fitting the bill because I didn't have I didn't have boobs or anything, so I got talked about even worse. People watching this video who me or went to school with me. I'm not pointing anybody, I'm just talking. Oh, we never would treat you like that. We never would talk about you. I know you were young and dumb back then, but I'm just saying now because a lot of you guys have kids now. Just look in the mirror and do some reflection. So if your son or daughter come talking to you about people talking to me because my hair talking about me because my hair is long and they don't want to be my friend. Look into what they're saying because that stuff can affect you and it's messed me up a lot. It may seem petty, but it do mess up a lot of social development. um and girls who are talking about my skin is dark or my skin is light and people picking on me, you guys need to really focus on that because it can really mess up your sons or daughters. I'm mainly talking about daughters, everything and view on themselves, the world, and even how they see men. So it's very important. Oh boy, it didn't get bad until seventh or eighth grade from the boys because they would actually come up to tell me if you would be perfect if you had if you had breast. I'm like, why would you tell me that? You light skin and have long hair, but if you had breast, you would be perfect. I'm like, I'm at school. I don't like going home. I don't have any friends. Math is getting hard. And now you telling me this in front of my face in front of boys? That's not a compliment. That's an insult. Why would you tell me that in front of all these guys? And it wasn't a one-time event. It was done sprinkled throughout my 7th and 8th grade year. I'm like, what are you getting at? Okay, you like me, but I'm not perfect, so I don't fit the bill now. So okay, so I guess when I hit 7th grade, I guess when I hit 7th grade, black girls, if you black and you light skin and have long hair, you better have a booty and breast too because oh my, it's like oh my gosh. So I'm not learning what I'm supposed to be learning about anything, because people they're telling me this. I never tell my parents that. Why? I learned long time ago. I'm on my own when it comes to self-esteem issues. Because they didn't do a good job telling me um telling me things that I should, just addressing it to the best they know how instead of just kind of fanning it off. Boys gonna be boys. They didn't mean it. I just need that was pretty stupid. So in 7th and 8th grade, I learned that, and it did hurt because it's like, oh my gosh. So it's like, okay, I'm not gonna get a boyfriend now. I can't make my breasts grow. Okay, but I'm light skinned and I have long hair. But that don't cut it anymore because my body is not like everybody else's. So they started going to the dark skinned girls then. So dark skinned girls, ow, listen to me on this too. Um, you're dark skinned, you're gonna get talked about by boys and girls. But when your body starts developing and something happens all of a sudden, all these boys give you attention. It's not because you're so fine per se, unfortunately. It's because you got a butt and some breasts and some hips, a woman's body, and all they want to do is do stuff to you. So keep that in mind too. It's gonna feel good to get the attention. You're gonna finally think, he thinks I'm pretty. He thinks I'm pretty. But what happened to all those other years before him when he wasn't checking for you? You got to keep that in mind because they are visually driven. Unfortunately, most of them are visually driven. So keep that in mind so you don't lose something that you're not ready to lose yet, okay? Because the tables do reverse. I can tell you that now. Like I said, elementary through early middle school, light skin, long hair. I'm pretty. I'm perfect. Life on the pedestal. But as soon as all the girls' bodies started developing, I didn't care what shade, what race. Oh, you best believe they weren't checking for me because I didn't have the complete package. So not only was I quiet, they thought I was shy, antisocial, and I didn't have a body. People, I didn't learn anything with school but self-hate, self-shame, to develop low self-esteem. So yeah, it's a mess what how far colorism can go. Colorism happens at an early age and it just opens a door. You know how most people say, "Oh, if you smoke marijuana, it's the gateway drug to crack cocaine and heroin and acid." Okay, well, colorism is an open door to self-harm, self-infliction, overeating, bulimia, hurting yourself to kill yourself, being antisocial, being depressed, dabbling into religions that you have no business because you're just trying to fit in. You guys, colorism is a gateway to a depression if you don't address it correctly, because in school these kids, it's a terrible, it's a frightening wake up call, especially now. And I'm not even in school anymore. These kids are super smart thanks to internet, and super grown and intelligent acting. And the words that they say to these kids, it's got to be more worse than how we felt, and I felt like trash then, you know. But of course I did a good job of hiding it and being quiet, because in my head it's like, what's the point? I have homework to do. I'm just a kid. I can't get a job yet. I gotta go home. I gotta do this for how many more days? I gotta go to school for how many more years? I haven't developed a sense of self or confidence because they shattered that. So when I go to school, I still have all those things they said to me in my head. You know, it's a mess, y'all. It's a big mess. It's a big fat mess. Oh, colorism is a beast. You know, so I know if, since I'm a girl, boys have it the same too. So I'm just saying, since I'm a girl, I can really only speak for myself, but I know boys go through this too. So guys, you know, find somebody you can talk to, or find a way you can, you know, we have social media now. So, you know, find a group of people who are going through the same thing so you won't feel so alone. I'm thankful for social media because social media wasn't as prevalent when I was growing up and booming like this. Because I think it would have saved me from making a lot of bad decisions that I made, because I didn't have anybody to talk to about all this stuff. So I just carried it over to the next grade, to the next grade, and to the next grade. Think that's enough about that. When I got to high school, seeing colorism through the voices of hearing boys conversate say this scared me too. It made me, it added to the affirmation of me not wanting to have a daughter, because I would hear guys talking about, man, I don't want to date no black girl because they hair. I don't want my daughters to have messed up hair. So wow, these are conversations that I would hear. Being that I was quiet, I did keep my mouth shut, and that was over 20 years ago. So I'm talking now because I'm not putting names to faces, but now I'm just sharing this to make a point that, guys, if you're gonna talk like that, be aware that maybe there's no chicks around. You guys have your shop talk at the shop with your boys and not around girls, because what you say, we're listening to, because maybe we don't know anything about what guys think because there's no father in the home present mentally, or both. You know, guys can, you can have a dad at home but he not there mentally, so he's not there at all. You know, it don't matter. Shoot, what you're saying, especially when it comes to something about, you know, what type of girl you want, and it's got something to do with mostly the physical, because girls are listening, because girls want boyfriends, girls want to be married. But when you saying stuff like that and you're black and you're saying that about your own people, it's kind of discouraging, because yes, I was light skinned, yes, I did have long hair, but my hair wasn't the texture that these other races have. So I fell right into that category, and it made me feel so bad, because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you know what, you're right. I would feel bad to have another black girl because I don't want her to deal with this crap about hair. And I don't even know how to do my hair. So why would I bring another life into this world, and nobody gonna want her anyways? Terrible, isn't it? But this is the stuff I heard, and unfortunately, it stuck with me. All the bad stuff that I'm talking about stuck with me more than the stuff that we were supposed to learn. Come to think of it, how in the world did I graduate? You know what I'm saying? I don't remember any of the stuff that they taught us in school. What I walked out from school was learning a lot of bad. Um, but that really, it really hurt to hear that, and it just keeps me, it just keeps me, it just, I'm still speechless to this day just thinking about hearing that conversation in that class. I knew exactly where I was, class it was, I knew where I sat, I knew where they sat when I heard that. And I know if the other girls who were dark skinned who were in there heard it too, I don't know how they took it. It probably could have been worse. But it's like, why would you say that? And it was, I heard it a few times throughout my high school experiences. Guys, black guys saying, "Man, I don't want, I wanna have a I want to have a daughter by somebody mixed because I don't want my kids having nappy hair." I'm like, that's it. But it still hurt because it's like our, since we're getting punished because our hair, so it was very confusing. It was very confusing. And I'm going to get off topic a little bit, but it hurt because I would hear, well, I better not say that. I don't know. I'll just try to I'll stay on topic, but that stuck with me and that scared me too because it's like, okay, light skin is in, but your hair got to be good too now, and you got to have a booty, and you got to have breasts, and your hair got to be good, and you got to be long. I'm like, well, I don't fit the wifey category or girlfriend category anywhere. So I had an epiphany. Color, at the end of the day, apparently color don't matter. No, black people, black women don't matter. You know, so it was just so hard. It was so much stuff going in my head. It was so appalling, and it still is because I'm quite sure if I experienced this was 20 years ago, guys are still going around having these same conversations. Go on to have them, but don't have them around females at least. Guys, if you're gonna talk about women, do that crap amongst yourselves and make sure no girls around because the same girls you're talking about, you might end up marrying, you know? Or look at me, for example. Shoot, hearing that conversation in high school, overhearing that conversation in high school, really started the doorway of me not even wanting to have a daughter, period. Like, if I found somebody and got pregnant or something, I'm like, shoot, this is stupid. It made me think like, okay, well, maybe I'm an exception to the rule. They'll put up with me because I'm light and I'm nice. Maybe because just because I'm nice, that's overriding the fact that I don't have a big chest and my hair isn't good. Maybe since I'm nice, that's why they putting up with me because I'm the closest to black good they gonna get. This colorism stuff can run deep, man. And it affects not only my shade, it affects dark people's shade. It's horrible, especially when you're young. It can really shape your views. It shaped my views real bad. It really messed me up in the head. And then on top of me not having anybody to talk to about it who really was gonna listen and not just shoot me off or shoot off Bible verses and affirmations just to, shut me up so they can get on back to whatever was going on in their world. Feeling that type of rejection too, that I was always in the way. So I just did more self internalizing, figuring stuff out on my own. You guys, colorism is it's creepy of what the damage it can do if it's not addressed. The topic as a whole is scary to talk about when you bring in a child into a world, especially a girl, no matter what color. Like, I'm sorry, this is what you're going to probably be facing in school because you're this particular shade of color, be it light or dark. You know, it's tiring and exhausting. It's so many compartments and stuff that you have to talk to your kids about. I know you may not want to because you just want the world to be. And so to even introduce them to stuff like colorism, just let it at least come from you. They probably may cry and hurt and say why, but I can guarantee you they would rather hear it from you, someone they love, opposed to getting introduced to colorism and body shaming. And if you don't have the perfect body, you're not gonna get a man or he gonna cheat on you stuff. It will be better if you taught your daughters and sons this from you the right way, not this ignorant crowd, but teach them the right stuff. So when they do start hearing all this stupid talking in school, it won't be as big of a shock. You know, it still may hurt, but at least they heard it from you guys, is what I'm saying. Colorism is prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Colorism within the black community has been a serious emotional psychological battle. This stuff is no joke, man. It affects no matter what shade. And at the end of the day, it's non exclusive because what it is, if you look deep at all these rules, a lot of people feel bad because it's like you're never good enough, period. And you can slip into a depression based off that. Some people will dig deep and internalize if they're trying to find these answers. So putting people in different boxes saying they have to have this, and that, fine. But don't be speaking that as gospel for how everybody should follow it, because that's not the way. That's not the way at all. Oh, goodness. This is me, LA. Pronounced like LA, not like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm breezy. Signing off on video 5 about colorism. Seeing colorism amongst and between girls and boys during my life from elementary, middle, and high school. Colorism did a number on my mental status of how I viewed everybody. All the way down to the point of me wondering whether or not I want to have a daughter. Based on all the crap I heard throughout second high school, not including college yet. This stuff is serious, man. This stuff runs deep, man. This stuff is terrible.